Hey guys, what is happening? This is Calvin Galoza, and I want to thank you for watching this very first video. Alright guys, let's get right to it. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys things about templates and what templates are, used for and what could be beneficial for you guys, especially people that are just starting out in this field. And if you're an experienced composer, then I'm sure that you also relate to templates as much as we all do. Before I start, I want to give you guys a little intro about myself. I write music for trailers and movies and video games and television. Some of my credits include Batman vs. Superman, The Current War, some video games like Rayman Origins, and a bunch of other things that I'm really excited about. I have really cool movies coming out this year as well. But that's enough about me. Let's talk about this template. So first of all, before I jump into the actual template, I want to show you guys what this machine is all about. In this machine, we have 48 gigs of RAM, and we have a processor of 266 gigahertz quad core. Do you need the 48 gigs to get started? No, you don't. Do you want 48 gigs or more? You absolutely do. However, I need you guys to understand that before you upgrade your CPU or your RAM, you really need to be working out of SSDs. If you're not working out of SSDs, then you're really missing out on the potential that your current computer could possibly have. I do have to say, for this specific video, you will need at least 16 gigs of RAM, and you'll see why in a little bit. But let's get started. The first thing I want to show you guys is that this is a 200 track template. This template should help you make any movie, or it should help you make as much as music as possible, because you have all the essential things going on in here. So let's talk about this template a little bit. Right on top, right over here, we have the piano. And if you see, I do this on my actual templates. And when I say my actual templates, is this template was built for people who are using HDDs, who are right now stuck using spinning disks. They haven't been able to upgrade to an SSD. And this is what it's making this video a little more special, is that I'm trying to key this in so that everybody gets a chance to be able to compose for picture without the pressure, because every month there's a new library. Every month there's new technology coming out so quickly that a lot of younger composers most of the time get frustrated because they feel like they don't have a certain gear, they cannot make music, which is absolutely false. But anyways, I do this. This is the sketch piano, and this is just a basic Logic. It comes built into the DAW, and everybody has access to this specific piano. I do this because this piano is extremely low on RAM, so it sounds beautiful. Take a listen. So as you can hear, the piano sounds absolutely beautiful, and it'll help you get started to write. It'll help you write faster. Now, of course, I do have a piano track here, and this piano has loaded, this track right here has loaded my favorite VST or plugin for pianos, which is the 1928 piano by ADO. Moving on, we have ADO clocks. I added this because I absolutely use this on almost every score that I do. It's just a basic clock sound. It has. I do add the essence of time to every score that I do. It's something that I'm fascinated by, so I do add that. And so you don't need this. You probably won't use it on your first scores or whatnot. But if you have access to it, then more power to you. Moving on, we have woodwings. Of course, we have a bunch of different styles of woodwings. I am planning on adding more libraries to this very own template so that I can show you guys like it is still possible to do all of this. But for now, we have ADO Majestica. You're going to see ADO Majestica on brass and strings as well, and I think on percussion as well. I throw them in there. But you have Symphobia, of course, because it's easy to get to. And Albion, of course. I love Spitfire, and their libraries are absolutely amazing. Brass, it gets a little bigger right here. We have more articulations ready to go. Then we move on to strings, which of course gets way massive. We have Berling, the Berling strings, which should be an absolute must-have library. Of course, if you can afford it, but it's incredible. The legato is just so real that it's out of this world. But so we have that. We have ADO Majestic as well. Symphobia, a bunch of Symphobia here. We have action strings, Albion at the bottom. Moving on to percussion, we have Action Strikes, which is another great instrument. ADO, we have Spitfire, Albion, then we have Spitfire, the Hans Zimmer Collection 1, which is the London series. It's probably the only one that I've used the most. That's why I added it onto here. So moving on, we have ADO Hybrid drums. This is epic modern sound. Especially if you're making trailer music, that's a library that you really need to consider saving for. Then we move on to choir, and then we got soloists. Then we move on to Animator. I work a lot with Nickelodeon and Disney and DreamWorks TV, so this is something that, although I only have 6 channels going, I just rip them out because you are really going to be using this, especially if you're working with animation. So take a look. It's by Symphobia or Project Sam. Moving on, we have from here on it gets a little bit more electronic. So we have Aura, we have the acoustic and the synth, we have Aeon, we have Gravity. Of course, that's by Heaviosity. Gravity sounds incredibly amazing, especially to start off a score or an underscore, whatever you're working on. Gravity and scoring guitars, and then synths. Hive is probably one of my favorite virtual synthesizers that I have ever used. So I highly recommend you guys checking them out, and if you can, go ahead and make that purchase. But basically, there you have it. You have a 200 track template that it's gonna help you score your picture. And something that I do want to show you guys here, I want to load monitor real quick, the activity monitor, and this is taking only 13 gigabytes of RAM. So I have 200 tracks ready to go on Logic or in Logic, and I'm using 13 gigabytes of RAM. So if you had a 16 gigabyte machine, you still have some RAM to play around with. And then, of course, there's techniques like, bouncing in plays, which is going to alleviate your RAM even more. But so there you have it, you guys. It's very easy. And if you see something that I do, I'm going to show you guys 2 things that I did for this template in specific. Is that if I open up the woodwings, for example, I have them loaded right on here. But when you open this up, and you take a look, everything is purged. You see, so if you don't know about what purging does for Kontakt, it basically removes all the samples out of the RAM, and it's just ready to go for whenever you play a note. So for example, you saw that everything was purged, but as soon as I play, see, everything that I played was sounding. So, and when you open this up again, it only loads a certain amount of samples. So it only loaded 2.94 megabytes of samples because that's all we were playing. So then you don't just overkill your computer. You're only using what you actually need, which is critical, especially if you're having a very limited machine. And even if you don't, even if you have supercomputers, I think you should always still only be loading the things that you are going to be using. There's no need to load massive amounts of samples that you are not even going to touch. Another thing that I wanted to show you guys that I did for this specific template is if we go to percussion, you see that I have all channels. And by the way, guys, you should know this, but if you don't, in Logic, when you go to Logic and you're about to create a contact or anything that could have multiple channels, when you're about to do that, please make sure that you hit multi-timbral here and you assign how many channels you want. That's going to help you a lot, because then you can, in the mixer, you'll be able to see that everything is on its own track. So if you wanted to mute a specific, like let's say I wanted to mute the taikos, I could just mute the taikos but still be using metal hits and lows and all of that good stuff. Okay, so basically another thing that I really want to tell you guys about is loading the channels with the instance of contact, but not loading the instrument. What do I mean by that? Is I created the tracks, I loaded them to contact, but when I open contact for hybrid drums, there's nothing on here. I would have to physically go into the instrument, pick the instrument that I want, and load it up. Why did I do that? Is because some of these libraries, a great example is the Berling strings. Some of these libraries are huge. So if you add those with it, you add that instance of contact, plus you add the instrument, you're going to be sitting for a long time waiting for your template to open. You're going to be sitting for 20 or 30 minutes waiting for your template to open, because it's just, it's just going to take forever. And of course, I want to make sure that you guys do understand this is only going to happen, or it should only happen, if we are working out of an HDD, which is a spinning disk. I have upgraded all of my machines. My actual studio runs with 3 Mac Pros. This one being one of them. However, I did install and I cloned my SSD onto this HDD so that I could show you guys that this is possible to do. It's just that you got to work around it a lot more. Whenever you do a project and you do get paid more than $200, you have to upgrade your system to solid state drives. It'll make your life way easier. And a good example about that is, like, look at this CPU meter right here. If I can get it to load. Here we go. CPU meter, I'm running 8 threads right now. And it's already peaking, and all I'm doing is recording this video. So it's just trying to find, if I was to like play that piano, I'm going to leave that up there and I'm going to show you guys. If I was playing the piano, you see the fluctuation starts to rise, because it's gonna get really intense onto your spinning disk, looking for all those samples. It's just gonna go crazy where it is, or looking for where it is. Anywho, basically, you have 200 tracks that's gonna help you compose an incredible score, because I can show you guys, and I will be showing you guys in future videos, how I make epic music out of this. And that's pretty much it, you guys. Do you know there's not really lots to it. It's just that this will take you time to do, but just do it to whatever libraries you're using. I don't expect you guys to have all of these libraries, but if I could recommend a starting library for those of you who are watching who are just getting started, is Albion. The Albion series definitely has everything you need, and it sounds absolutely epic. The other thing that I do want to talk about, the only type of processing that I am doing, is that I am sending everything to a bus and out to a reverb. I don't expect you guys to have this reverb. I know this could get a little pricey, but if you had $1,000, I would highly recommend you guys buy the FabFilter bundle. if you don't have that kind of money yet, you should really consider buying the Pro R and the Pro Q, which is the EQ from FabFilter. It's absolutely epic. I have really, really good friends who work at Blizzard Entertainment, and everybody mixes and uses that EQ, the FabFilter EQ, for their mixes. So I really hope you guys are able to slowly but surely upgrade to this really cool plugins. I do have the Mercury collection from Waves, which has a bunch of EQs and all of that good stuff. But for that, I'm not gonna be showing any of that fancy stuff. The only thing that I did want to show you guys was the reverb, because I just can't, I cannot not use that FabFilter reverb. It's just beautiful, 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 and absolutely realistic. And I'm gonna show you guys one of the beautiful things that this reverb has. And by the way, I got hooked onto this freaking reverb because of Chris over at Spitfire. He got me just crazy about the reverb, and now I can't get enough of it. But basically, you can see the wave as you're listening to the reverb, so you can make the adjustments that you may need based on that wave. Check this out. So you see that, like, it shows the low end, goes all the way down here. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful reverb, and you guys should really consider looking into it. Excuse me. But that's pretty much it, you guys. That is all that I'm going to be showing you guys on this really short tutorial, or if you call it a tutorial, this is more like a showing you guys that it is possible. Remember, you don't need the 48 gigs of RAM. Are you going to need them? Yes, you will. Are you going to need more than that? Definitely will. But get started. Get started making music. This is, a 16 gigabyte computer should be able to hold 200 tracks. And then when you get to composing, start bouncing onto audio. That way your RAM is not getting attacked as much, and you're balancing between your CPU and your RAM and your hard disk. Your hard disk will thank you for moving on to the CPU and all of that good stuff. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching this very, very first tutorial or video. I can't wait to be bringing you guys way more than this. And what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be composing music using this template, and I'm going to be showing you guys tips and tricks on how to mix orchestral music and all of that good stuff. I do have several movies lined up for this year, so I will for sure be showing you guys what I do for these movies. I'm talking to the directors and producers to let me show you guys what I do, how I do it, and all of that good stuff. Kind of just give you guys an insight on how I score movies and video games and all of that good stuff. But anywho, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.